Hello and welcome to this lesson 12 in our Active Record Rails course. We're looking at the many-to-many relationship. So one user can have many skills. One skill can be shared by many users, and that's how this relationship works, as we described earlier. Has and belongs to many is our method, our convention method, which we use to refer to this relationship. And we use a join table to link the user table and the skill table. This isn't a model, but held in the database through a migration. So at the bottom, we've seen our has one, has many relationships. This one is has and belongs to many skills. And within the skill class, we also have to put has and belongs to many users. So the convention for a join table is Rails G migration create skills users. So we use an alphabetical order for each of the tables, and they have to be in plural for our migration. It's a convention. User references and skill references ensures that those two tables are referred to through this join. So if we look further into our many-to-many relationship, we can see that we need to create a model skill, because we haven't done that yet, and we give it a name and, if we wish, a description with text. And we also need to create our create skills users migration, which creates a table on the database, but this won't exist in our models. We use user references, skill references to refer to the two tables. In our migration, we do add ID false because we don't need an index on this join table. It's just literally going to join two separate tables for our many-to-many relationship. And we can also add index true on the user and skill columns to link the foreign keys so that they are ordered correctly. We use rakedb migrate to run that migration. And then we can look at our database and we see, if we do a query for skills, .schema, a percentage mark skills percentage, then we can see that we've got effectively two tables referring to skills. We've got the skills and the skills users. With the skills users is our join table. And they're joining to the users and the skills through this FK Rails, which is a foreign key. And the user ID integer and the skill ID integer represent those two relationships. Again, we remind ourselves that we use has and belongs to many. And the database shows a skills table and a skills users table related through our foreign key. So we can go into our console and we can look at how this relationship works. So user equals user.find by last name Bezos, and we can also look for a second user, user.find by last name Page. So we can make a skill, presumably both Jeff Bezos and the head of Google are able to use, Larry Page is able to use AWS. So their skill, we're creating a skill.create deployment with AWS, and we use AWS to deploy applications on the server. That's a description of the skill. We can then push into each of the users this skill, which is AWS, which will go into the skills array for, well, we're adding it to both users, and that automatically adds a foreign key that relates to both of those users. So if we do aws.users, then we'll see the two users related to that AWS skill. We could also look at user dot skills, and we'd see entry for AWS. So in summary, we've had a many relationship, and that's got two models, but we used three migrations because we're creating this join table, which just exists in the database, in order to link the skills table and our user table. And this join table doesn't have an actual model in our Rails app. So do look out for these join tables for many-to-many relationships, because you can use a SQL Pro or a similar tool to look at those tables, because it's not possible to find them in the Rails code unless you look in the schema.rb, which contains all the relationships between tables as well.